but what I'm going to try to do is a question and answer every day, and maybe some walkthroughs of product, kind of like a virtual homeschool booth, where if you came to visit us in Rogers next week, you'd have access to kind of see the material, ask questions about the material, do some Q&A, that type of thing.
This before. It's called Science with Delaney. If you go to the Master Books YouTube channel, it's one of the playlists on there.
Right now in design is Adventures in Creation, Physical World, God's Design for Beginners, Heaven and Earth, the atlases, Principles of Math. The other thing that I love about Principles of Math is the foundation that it lays in biblical apologetics. Math is the language of God. Math is the language God used to write the laws of the universe. Good Tuesday afternoon. How's everybody doing today? We hope you're having a fantastic week, as always. And here's what we're going to do, if it's okay. We've been notified that most of our conventions in the next 6 weeks have been canceled. And so we're going to up and do some more questions and answers. And I got to put together the format, but what I'm going to try to do is a question and answer every day, and maybe some walkthroughs of product, kind of like a virtual homeschool booth, where if you came to visit us in Rogers next week, you'd have access to kind of see the material, ask questions about the material, do some Q&A, that type of thing. I'm also, of course, they don't know it yet, but I'm going to ask some of the moderators like Jessica and Anna if they wouldn't mind participating as well.
Surprise!
That's the way we love it. So yeah, we're disappointed about the conventions, but we still look forward to the opportunities to connect with you guys in any way we can. So that being said, I have a request to the homeschool community. Now, I've been part of the homeschool community for a long time. This is before we get into question answer. And I remember during the Columbine shootings, the tragedy at Columbine, and that was an event that helped homeschool movement. Really, parents that were interested, had been on the fence, they kind of took an awareness, like, what is homeschooling? How can I do it? Is this something we could do? And the movement really grew out of that. When 9/11 happened, the same thing happened, where parents who had been considering it, but weren't really ready, took that move and decided to homeschool. And this event in our culture, in our country right now, and global event, we have a lot of families who are contacting us, who are on the fence, thinking about it, interested. And here's my plea to the homeschool community. Rather than sharing snarky mimes, and is it mimes?
Memes. He does that every single time. Memes.
Help, I'm stuck.
One day we'll get it.
Okay.
One day.
Memes. It's still a GIF, not a GIF. But anyways.
That's wrong.
No.
The creator literally said GIF, if like the peanut butter.
I took phonics, and
I would like to know.
Good.
Comment
Good.
Comment if it's pronounced GIF like peanut butter or GIF like.
How do we know? Some people may call their peanut butter GIF.
Nobody calls their peanut butter GIF.
And that's with a J anyways, GIF.
The creator literally said GIF.
Okay, let me make my plea. Here's my plea.
That was a Britney rant.
Because
you're a little bit more inspirational.
Here's my plea. My plea is that we, especially this community, would be very hospitable, that we would be very welcoming to new people who are interested in homeschooling. This is such an opportunity where people are open, that we would say, hey, we're willing to help you and mentor you and get you involved in homeschooling. This is just such a good opportunity. We don't need to bash, right? If the Holy Spirit is working on someone and they're kind of ready to go, sometimes all we need is somebody to help them. And so let's be a help to those who are in the market. Yeah, a lot of people.
I'm laughing because a lot of people are saying GIF, like the peanut butter.
A lot of people
but
are saying,
Anna said, like Rick and Anna Walter said GIF. So I thought we were going to get along better than that.
Okay, so that's my plea. Second thing I'd like to say is we are here and we're working, our warehouse is working. We are facing a global epidemic and a pandemic, and interruptions probably are going to occur before this is all said and done. So we're working on making sure that we can continue providing service to the homeschool community as fully and for as long as possible. If we have to, if something changes, then we will work to do things digitally so that we can help families continue to homeschool and stay connected. So I've already proven that even if I was sick, very sick, I will still go live.
You did.
I did.
Good job.
Yes.
Proud of you.
And I was pretty sick. So anyways, okay. So we've got some Q&A we're going to do. And there's a lot of people who agree with me on this one.
No, just the moderators. Desiree said that the creator was wrong. She said, yes, it is GIF, but GIF is the right way. The creator was wrong. That's not how that works. If I create something, I get to name it whatever I want.
Let me just say, the reason that the creator is saying it's a GIF, he spelled it wrong. He draws in pictures. He don't even know how to spell. So instead of spelling it as a GIF, like GIF, he spelled it as GIF. And it stands for graphic image format. So good.
But that's
graphic.
not what the creator...
The creator was wrong.
It's only the moderators that have agreed with you so far.
It is
and
not.
There were like,
there's
like one other person in the app. Thank you to everybody else. We are right.
We've spent way too much time together in lockdown.
Quarantine day 3.
When X crushes the millennial, it's a GIF. Slam.
Okay, boomer. I'm just kidding.
All right, you're out.
Aniston said, are y'all going to keep shipping out during this?
Yep, we're still shipping. Now, we don't know what the changes may be. You know, I mean, as long as they come pick up packages and deliver packages, we can't always, we can't guarantee once we give it over to a company what happens in the delivery chain. But we're definitely working hard to keep things moving. And like I say, if we have to, we have all of our curriculum in digital format. So if we have to, and we're not able to either get printings in or send something out, we can make sure that customers have like the first 9 weeks of the curriculum available to them. So we have some options, and we can certainly, one of the beauties of this Facebook group is, like, I feel bad for companies that rely on homeschool conventions only because they can't connect. And one of the beauties of this is we're connecting with you guys all the time. So that's awesome. And our moderators are scattered all over the country: North Carolina, Oregon, Phoenix, Arizona, Texas, Ohio. That's, yeah, we're pretty cool. We're multi-state organization. So that's pretty awesome. Okay. So I've blabbered enough. What do we got for questions?
Okay, Elizabeth asked, is writing strands all that my 7th grader would need for language arts / English?
If your 7th grader was like me, yes. I'd say this is more your parental teaching style, right? Writing strands is a teach as you go type curriculum. It will teach the basics of grammar. It's not going to be intense. It's not going to be like a Jensen's grammar. So you are the principal of your school. You decide on what curriculum, you decide on the requirements for your school. If you decide that you want a grammar program that is heavy in the fundamentals, that you have nouns, verbs, adjectives, direct objects, all of those types of things, like that's really important to your grammar program, then you would want to use like a Jensen's grammar alongside with it. If you're more interested in, we want a great writing, we want our students to be able to write great, communicate great, have a basic understanding of parts of speech and grammar, but not necessarily, they don't have to know all the ins and outs of that, then I say yes, Jensen's is absolutely enough. Now, we have families who are using Jensen's. I'd love to hear your input. Weigh in on that if you would. But I think I think writing strands is enough for me and the approach that I would use. Okay.
Awesome. Carrie Ann Libby asked, is there a dedicated civics course for elementary plans? I'm aware of the topics covered in my story, but wondering about a just civics course like the upper level one.
At this time, there isn't. That would be the only one that is available. Doesn't mean down the road there won't be, but we have our team is working on so many projects right now and just trying to fill in the core curriculums. So we don't have one right now, but hopefully in the future.
Stephanie over in the app said hello from quarantine in Ireland.
Oh,
Hello from quarantine in Arkansas.
do Irish get more angry when they're quarantined?
Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Yes. When was that?
That's today.
Is it today?
I think.
No.
Yeah,
Is today St. Patrick's Day?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
So happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
I hope you're enjoying. You hope
You hope you're enjoying quarantine? Oh my goodness.
We're enjoying our quarantine in Arkansas.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Is it St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Chime in. Let us know. Somebody Google that. Yeah, it is. See, I'm on top of things.
Wow. I didn't know that. Isn't that awful?
Surprise!
I didn't even know it was Tuesday, so we're good.
He's been quarantined for longer than we have. We keep him locked up because he says GIF.
I'm in the gift lockdown.
Angela said, my son will use language lessons 6 for 10th grade because he is comfortable with this curriculum. He is a perfectionist and writing is too stressful for him. What would you recommend for 11th and 12th grades?
So my recommendation, depending on the writing, what you want for writing, you could go into Jensen's format writing, which would be very systematic in approach to writing, but it would teach basic, like how to write a format essay, how to write business letters, that type of thing. Or you could do the readiness test for writing strands and see where he was with writing strands and have him do the writing strands. So,
Dad said we aren't wearing green. It was a surprise to him. And I don't own green.
do I have green? I don't think I have green either.
Are we Irish?
I have a green guitar. My favorite guitar is green.
Well, we should have played guitar today. Okay. Did you finish answering that question? I'm sorry, I was reading the comments.
Yeah, I would do writing strands. I mean, if Jensen's grammar or writing strands, or Jensen's format writing or the writing strands, but do the readiness test and kind of see where he is. I wouldn't just assume to put him into a level.
Awesome. You're going to have to help me with this because I don't know what the abbreviation stands for. How does God's Design Series compare to SSS?
Sea, soil, sky, or...
Good job. And elementary zoology as far as teaching methodology.
Your
Methodology.
sent you
Methodology. She wanted to let you know that Jamin's making corned beef and brisket.
Because it's...
And that you did learn recently that you're Irish, so you should have been on top of this.
I'm not only Irish, I was like related to Eric of the Nines.
So he really
Whoever
should
that
have been on
was.
top of this and be wearing
I didn't
green
know.
today.
We thought Kristen was Irish and I was not. And then we did the 23andMe thing and I ended up really Irish and she ended up Italian and English and German, right? I don't know. But anyways, yes. And then that I had something from this Eric of the Nines, whoever.
This has been a very crazy live so far. We hope you're tracking and keeping up.
Can you keep up with us today? Okay, say that again.
Okay, Rebecca said, how does the God's Design series compare to Soil, Sea, and Sky and elementary zoology as far as teaching methodology?
Okay, so God's Design would be something that would be kind of set up more it's designed more for teaching, right? It's got some labs, it's got the information, student question and answer, that type of thing. The other courses that you're talking about, Sea, Soil, Sky, and Zoology, they're more of an applied science. They use real world books. So these were books that we've published. Then you have a teacher guide, and so you work through these books. So it's very applied concepts. It's not as like a traditional curriculum that has a scope and sequence. This would be more of using the books. I think it's a little bit more informal, if you will, because of the way it's going, than God's Design. God's Design is a very good curriculum. It covers all of the essentials that you need for those topics, but it's written in a way that it was designed to teach the content, where like the zoology is written more in a way that's going to be like if I went and got the books and started reading them. So it's just that approach to the two.
Awesome. Ember said, my daughter is going into 7th grade. She tested better on her placement test for Principles of Mathematics 1 than she did on her placement test for Living Education 6. She has never been introduced yet to decimals or negative numbers. She was able to get the decimal questions right on the Principles of Mathematics test by guessing. I chose to start my kids a year late in math, and she has been using Math-U-See and currently finishing up the fraction book from them. The next year would have been decimals. Would you buy her book 6 or Principles of Math 1?
Okay, so 2 things. If she doesn't know it, I would at least review it. But with Math-U-See, Math-U-See is a different type of program because it's so mastery based. And I would probably, in this case, usually with Math-U-See, it's the only curriculum that we have where people tend to go back a grade or 2. And some of it is because the concepts haven't been introduced. The other part of that is that the language lesson or math lessons for a living education it teaches a lot of critical thinking skills because you're using like math as a toolbox, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, decimals, all these types of things that are part of math. And when I read a problem and I'm encountering new problems and new types of situations, I go to my toolbox and I choose what's best. So sometimes when you move into the higher math like that, where it's expecting that you kind of know what tools you have in the toolbox and how to use them, it's good to cover that. So I would say if she had some gaps, you may look at doing 6. And she's still going to get some pretty good, I mean, the concepts that are there are going to equip her, and you could always double up Principles of Mathematics. We have a combined schedule to do 2 math in 1 year if you're so inclined. But if you, my thought is Math 6 would kind of give you some more of the critical thinking practice that I would recommend with that. And then language was tested back.
She didn't say anything about language.
Oh, okay.
I just made that up. Good job. Asha said, I know curriculum is a tool and I am more than willing to make it work for us. However, I wanted to get your thoughts on using adventures in the physical world with a soon-to-be 4th grader. We've completed soil, sea, sky, and we are almost done with zoology. I'm not quite ready for the God's Design series yet. Added to that, Libby said, to go along with this, are there any estimates on how far we are from a preview Adventures in Physical World? Would Carrie be willing to come on and do a live talk about that? Yeah.
Carrie will definitely come on and do a live talk. I don't have enough information yet to do a preview. I know that it's all with design right now. I would feel comfortable. I know 4th grade, it depends. Right, you would probably want to supplement a little bit, but we have the YouTube channel Science with Delaney, and that I learn from that all the time.
They're so cute. Yeah, we enjoy watching them.
Yeah, I've learned about pollination. I learned about how the rain, seeing it, some of those things. I would probably look at maybe supplementing some of it, but I think that you could use it with older students as well, as long as you maybe go and get some, like we have the Wonders of Creation series that you could certainly pick a few things and go a little bit deeper with.
Right. Allison over in the app said, my 6-year-old is struggling with basic language skills. She gets through the lessons, but with a lot of direction. I'm so torn with whether I should get language lessons 2 next year or basically have her repeat by purchasing language lessons 1. How big of a leap is language lessons 2 from basic language skills?
Okay. 6 years old. I would probably, if she's struggling with it, she's basically reading but still struggling with some of the concepts and that, I think it will be different enough that she probably wouldn't recognize it. And I would probably recommend going with Basic Language Skills 1. You wouldn't have to repurchase the 3 books because they're used. So all you would have to do is buy the teacher guide and use that, maybe even just with the first semester. Don't do a whole year of it, but use it as a first semester and kind of shore up some of those things. I think you'll be amazed at how much she'll develop over the summer. Our kids, like, in a week's time, like we used to take you guys on vacations, and I was always amazed how by the time we would come home, because they had new experiences and their brains were engaged and moving, all active, like you guys would be different kids altogether.
Yeah.
So.
Aaron over in the Facebook Live said, what is the science channel? I haven't heard of this before. It's called Science with Delaney. If you go to the Master Books YouTube channel, it's one of the playlists on there. And she's working her way through all of the experiments in Adventures in Creation.
Yeah, and she's so cute.
She's so cute. Her
Peace out,
little
guys.
sister. Peace out. Stephen Melissa Cap said, when will Heaven and Earth, the junior level, or I guess for beginners, when will that be released?
That's in design. Now, it's not in the catalog, but I would expect it'll be available before the start of the next school year. So that would mean it would be available probably June, July, August.
Lacey and Mallory would like to know, will the new American Geography course complement America's Story, or will it be completely different? Also, how will map track courses complement America's Story and World Story?
Okay, so the Atlas course, that will be a completely different. It'll be more of a U.S. geography course. I mean, you could certainly use it alongside America's Story, I believe, but it won't be tied in or integrated into it that I'm aware of. The map track, there are certainly maps that are in that course that you can refer to track along. It's not going to be, to the best of my knowledge, it's not integrated into the course, but I do know I already have moms that are in this group that are talking about creating some cross-reference sheets of, if you're studying this, this is a good map to use. So I do anticipate we'll see a lot more of those resources.
Tiffany said, what's in design? I missed it.
What's in design? Right now in design is Adventures in Creation, Physical World, God's Design for Beginners, Heaven and Earth, the atlases, Atlas of America and the Passport of America. And then we have, for high school, they're working on America, the high school American history. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Dedra? I hope I got
Deidre?
Deidre. I think it's Deidre. I said Dedra.
Well, of course, you say
I'm
Jif. How would you? Who would expect you to pronounce names right? You don't even know how to pronounce Jif.
What would be the best human body study for a 9 and 7-year-old?
9 and 7-year-old elementary anatomy, and you could
Rude.
you could even just purchase the four books and study. Just have fun reading for that age. But you could use elementary anatomy.
How do you get your child to start being more independent? My daughter's 9 years old, and I have to tell her what to get done every single day. That's from Vicky.
So 9 is still that transitional spot. You may have to help. And some require more motivation than others, even longer into adulthood.
Why are you?
I didn't even look at you.
Yes,
I tried
you
to
did.
avoid
I
eye
know
contact.
you were avoiding eye contact. That's what I'm talking about. It's like you looked that way, like just enough that I would catch it, but nobody else would catch it. Yes, I'm a little bit more hands-on than the rest of my
I'm trying not to make eye contact.
Yes, I still call my dad and ask him what
question.
kind of milk he wants. I'm like, hey, so there's a lot of options for milk right now. Do you want almond? Do you want 2%? Do you want whole milk?
How many times?
Do you want me to FaceTime you so you can see?
I want you to go get the kind of coffee creamer we have in the refrigerator. And sure,
Hey, I'm just making
it's
sure.
actually getting a little better. But it'd be like, there's a phone ring, here's a FaceTime. Oh, which one of these creamers did you want? I just don't want to get the wrong one. And it's not that she doesn't know which one is, which size do you want? Do you want the big one or the small one?
Because he didn't specify. He just said get the coffee creamer that's in the fridge.
I enjoy talking to you when you call, so I always know it's coming.
My poor husband.
So, and just for the record, that's when she gets married. I'm her dad, not her husband. Somebody thought we were married. So you said so I just want to clarify.
No, I'm saying like my poor future husband, that'll be the transition, is I will then be FaceTiming him every time he wants me to go to the store.
That'd make a good spoof on that song. Poor future husband. You know,
My dear future husband.
Yeah, just poor future husband.
Sorry,
you could actually do a good spoof on that. Okay. Anyways. Okay. What was the question we were on? Oh,
how do you
motivation.
get your child to start being more independent?
Yeah. Look for the wins, right? So it may be frustrating, but if there's an area where all of a sudden you notice she takes a little bit more initiative, man, go big on the reward. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you that you did this. You did this all on your own. You went to the store and you found your own creamer and you brought it home.
Oh my goodness, you got the large.
Yay, you thought out of the box. That's awesome. And then just kind of rewarding the behavior that you're looking for is a big deal.
Mom said, wow.
Wow.
Anyways.
I would be careful to, what would I be careful of? So you reward the behavior you want. Be careful too that you're not doing things that enable, right? We get impatient. So sometimes it's just easier to do things for our kids. I have adult kids right now, and it's important to me that some of them have toilet paper, right? That are right. So like, it's easy for me to think, I'm going to go get it for them and give it to them and put it in their apartments and in their homes. But sometimes that doesn't actually help them become more independent. So I think sometimes we also have to evaluate, are there areas where maybe we're enabling them a little bit because it's just easier to solve the problem than it is to let them fight through it. So
Toilet paper, good example.
what's on my brain?
Don't withhold toilet paper from your children during these tough times, please. Oh,
we have one in our house right now. We have an apartment separate from our house.
About to get deep through the hand on the hip.
Yeah, this is just a funny story about toilet paper. I know this is supposed to be a virus-free zone. We have somebody who's sneaking into our house, taking toilet paper into their apartment.
Because we're having a contest to see who can last longer through a roll of toilet paper, and she's cheating the system and going downstairs to use your toilet paper instead of using her roll. And I just figured it out.
Yeah, we were wondering too, like, how come the toilet paper's going so fast?
Eli, why are you burning through so much toilet paper?
It's so bad that we're talking about toilet paper. Okay, next question.
They wants to know.
That's why I got a text message from Tim just a minute ago. Come to my office when you're done.
You're talking about toilet paper. Heather said, when is Algebra 2 supposed to be released?
Algebra 2 is supposed to be released this summer. So the manuscript is in-house. It will be going, it's in editorial review right now, and will be going into design soon.
Lori said, when will the America Story timeline packets be released?
America Story timeline packet.
Mom said more. Wow. My mom texts me during these while I'm reading from the original question post and does commentary for us.
Those packets, America Story packets, are available in digital. We are waiting on a special cardstock so that we can shrink wrap them. So those will be coming. Those will be coming within the next, probably next week. Lord willing, those will be available for purchase. The timeline packs for American history.
Okay, this one might be a little difficult to answer.
Story of America, America Story, America Story. America's Story.
Good job. Proud of you. Ariel said,
What?
I don't know. Sorry. I thought you were going to say something.
See, before we started this whole thing wrong. Give me your glasses. My glasses sometimes sit a little bit crooked, right? So I said, I look like Glenn Beck.
He looks just like Glenn Beck. It's
Not quite,
scary.
because he's whiter and he wears darker glasses. And I don't promote fear. So
this is all true.
So, but this is my new
Glenn Beck look.
Older look. Can you see?
I can see now.
All right, let's get on track.
I'm so sorry, everybody. Ariel said, I ordered the level 1 math and foundation phonics for my kindergartner.
Okay.
Which at the time seemed the right fit. Now that we are halfway through both programs, I am seeing an issue with him having the writing stamina to complete the day's lessons. To me, this isn't a big deal. I just allow him to complete what he can and then pick up where he left off the next day. However, I'm starting to see him get down on himself for not completing a lesson. At this point, what would you recommend him do? I don't want him to lose any of the skills that he has acquired since they are not covered in the K curriculum.
Maybe slow it down. Right? He's young enough that if it takes you 2 years to finish that level, you're fine. You're not going to fall behind. Let him build up to it a little bit. So that would be one thing that maybe I would recommend, is let him set the pace and say, hey, we're going to take 2 days to do this, because he wants to complete it. He wants to see the completion. So if that's the case, that's good. Let's just take a little bit more time, or maybe start it in the morning and finish it in the afternoon. Look for creative ways to do it. But if stamina is an issue, yeah, let him catch up, because stamina is an important part of learning.
I laughed because Jessica said, yes, that's it. Glenn Beck. I knew he looked like someone I couldn't place my finger on.
Scary.
Caitlin said, what's your advice on finishing a curriculum within a certain time? What are the pros and cons to stopping and restarting versus going through summer or just not finishing?
You could dye your hair blonde and look like Tommy Lauren. We could do the Beck and Lauren show.
Mom said, wow, we're going to new heights today.
Okay, so starting at the end of the school year, like if you pull right now, a lot of people that are in this group or whatnot are in this spot. The kids maybe are getting an extended break or something like that. Do you wait? Do you do nothing? Do you try to finish out the year? What do you do? Or just start next year's school curriculum? One thing you may do is just kind of hit a basics. Like, would it hurt to get, our math books are very affordable in an elementary program, to just get the math program and say, hey, we're going to work on the math book. You already know it. We're just going to work on it, get used to it, cover any learning gaps, maybe do math and language between now and next year. And it just kind of get them in the mode, get used to working together, get them excited about learning. So I don't know that I would start next year's now. I would maybe look at just supplementing with math and language and then some reading, that type of thing. Okay. Strengthen skills at this age for the next level.
Just some feedback. Natalie said, I'm so thankful for this amazing curriculum, loving Simply K and Math K, and we've bought books for up to first grade. I'm impressed not only with the quality of books, but the focus on Jesus.
Awesome. Thank you.
Marcy said, will there ever be any additional options for junior high math?
At this time, no. We love Principles of Mathematics. There's a lot of text, but we're working to, Kate Loop Hannon has a video program available for the math. And so we're working with her to see if we can't provide an option through Master Books as well. Even though she has it and it's available, we use it with one of our sons, especially if the text is a little much, having the video explanations is good. So I have to sneeze. So I'm like apparently my face is going. Okay. So, yeah, and my glasses are crooked now. Okay. So, I would say no. Principles of Math. The other thing that I love about Principles of Math is the foundation that it lays in biblical apologetics. Math is the language of God. Math is the language God used to write the laws of the universe. And I think that understanding for our students at 7th and 8th grade, before they really move into that abstract thinking of high school, is brilliant. So my hat's off to Kate for that.
Carol said, we are switching to Master Books for my daughter for first grade in the fall. Her current language arts curriculum doesn't use the symbols over the vowels to indicate their sounds. Will she have trouble switching to language lessons 1 in that regard? Mom, if you could text me the answer to that one, we'll get back to you, Carol.
I don't believe so. The words are, it's above there as a help, but if it's a distraction, it'd be easy enough to put a piece of paper or something over it. But it's easy enough, I think, to explain that they help us identify.
Becky said, I'm just tuning in, so maybe this has been asked, but is the new Adventures in Creation 2 too young or easy for an 8-year-old third grader? What level of reading questions is it geared for?
No. It was kind of written as a target age of a 2nd grade, but 8-year-old in 3rd grade, no. I would absolutely use it for 3rd grade. I think that it's got plenty of meat in it.
Mom asked me to read the question again. She was distracted. So, Mom, Carol would like to know. She said, we're switching to Master Books for my daughter for first grade in the fall. Her current language arts curriculum doesn't use the symbols over the vowels to indicate their sound. Will she have trouble switching to language lessons 1 in that regard? Let us know. Next question. Lauren said, I have a child with special needs. Would there ever be language lesson 7? I don't think she could handle writing strands and language lessons. Has worked very well for her. Just curious so I can plan. Thank you.
Right now, there isn't a language lesson 7 slated. Doesn't mean Kristen might not be convinced. The last time this came up, Brittany threw a tantrum because,
Well, here we go. Another Brittany rant. We just haven't seen her since she started language lessons because she's been working. She's been locked away.
These are 500-page books.
It's been crazy.
She's written 6 of these in 2 years.
So I was like, guys, let us have our mom back.
6 of these every 2 years, 24 months. That means every 4 months she's cranking out a 500-page book, right? Yeah. Plus went through cancer treatments and everything else. So,
Yeah.
We know she has a cape hidden somewhere.
Yeah. She did say that in regards to the symbols that you can just disregard the symbols in language lesson. She said it shouldn't be a problem, but be sure to check out the previews. You can find the previews on every product page underneath the picture of the cover.
Carrie Bailey said, I don't think it would as well. Carrie is the author of Simply K and Math K.
And then, she said it will be a little while before she does 7, if she does 7, a couple of years, because we need her back for the couple of years that language lessons took away from us.
That's right. The Bible says that he would restore the years the locusts have stolen.
Katie I said, I have a 6-year-old who has been in a private transitional kinder program, and we are transitioning to homeschool.
Awesome.
She's gone through Saxon phonics and can recognize sight words, knows letter sound, can blend some. I would consider her a very early reader, emphasis on very. Would language lessons 1 be appropriate?
There is a readiness guide. I would look at the readiness guide and then look at the preview for language lessons 1 and see what you think. It's kind of difficult if she's had a lot of materials. She might enjoy it just as a review and getting used to the program, because their language lessons for a living education is very holistic in that it taps into picture studies and poetry and different things to utilize more parts of the brain.
I'm so sorry I keep interrupting, but y'all are funny today.
I just caught, we are new to Master Books, and I thought, boy, this may not be the video to be new to Master Books.
Sarah just said, are you calling us locusts? Yes.
Did you say that?
No, I'm just kidding. No,
you don't say that.
You said it. You said, you quoted
the last video Brittany's allowed to be on.
No, you are not locust. He said that, but he didn't mean it. It was.
Yeah, so when Kristen doesn't go to church with us, we ended up getting in trouble by the pastor.
Because this is what we do.
There's 1,500 people in the sanctuary, and they couldn't just mind their own business.
And we just giggle through the service and laugh. We're not allowed to sit next to each other. Jessica said, who else is super excited for Stepping Stones to come out? I can't wait. I can't wait either.
No, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. When the pastor hugs you harder than he should because he's not happy with you.
Because he's not happy. It was a punishment.
Okay.
Mom said we're being really dramatic. Kara said, any update on Adventures in Physical World? And can we expect another interview with Carrie around the time of the release?
Yes. Yep. We'll have Carrie on for sure. Actually, Carrie Bailey is watching today too. Carrie, we need to set up a time to talk about Stepping Stones. We have new software we're testing, which will make it easier to do interviews here. So yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Expect to have a lot of. I wanted to talk with Carrie Bailey about Simply K again and Stepping Stones, the developmental approach. And then with Carrie Lindquist, also the 2 sciences, really being able to circle back around with that.
Yeah. Lori Nettle said, y'all are so uplifting, and I'm questioning if she's being really sarcastic right now. Next question. Christina said, we have planned on starting homeschool in the fall with will be my 4th and 1st grader. We have already purchased and received our master books, but our schools have closed for the COVID-19 starting today until at least April 1st, but rumored depending on the severity of the virus, it could be for the rest of the year, lots of unknowns. So my question is, do I start with our fall curriculum now and still take our summer break and then start back, or do I find something just to finish the current school year there in now?
Yeah, the same answer applies here. I would look at doing like math and language for the appropriate grade now, or the grade before what you purchased already, and just do it as a review. Just do it for fun and not as torture. If you're only doing a couple subjects and then maybe some reading, I think you could have a lot of fun with that, solidify the foundations and cover any learning gaps.
Beth Smith said, if my daughter is behind in math, should I work her harder to catch up? She is currently in 2nd grade. I just found master books and she is enjoying 1st grade math right now.
No, I would say let her go. I mean, 2nd grade, if she could catch up, you could do a little bit over the summer, but it's skill-based, right? So 1st grade, if that's where she is and she's doing well and she's gaining confidence, let her go at her rate. I wouldn't push her. There's no hurry, right? Here's the goal. In high school with math, you got to do algebra in 9th or 10th grade. You could do a pre-algebra, algebra half in 9th grade, count that as a credit, do algebra in 10th grade. So the goal is get her ready for algebra. The numbers on a book don't really matter. Is she going to be ready for algebra? And you can work together. You can work to get that caught up over the next 5 years. So just let her enjoy it. Okay.
I was reading this long one.
That was a big one.
Kind of complicated to answer. Do you want me to try it, or do you want to?
Go ahead. Let's try.
Jennifer said, my son is 6 years old, basically finishing up his kindergarten year, though developmentally he is all over the place. He has autism, anxiety, and ADHD. We tried another curriculum that was just too over his head. We switched to a more unschooling approach, which he does well with, but I think he needs some more structure and exposure to a wider range of topics. With the anxiety and autistic person, every time I mess up, I think you're going to call out my GIF.
Well.
No.
Jiffy.
We're never going to get through this. We switched to a more unschooling approach, which he does well, but I think he needs some more structure and exposure to it.
Okay, so
I'm so sorry. Wider range of topics. With the anxiety and autistic preservation, along with some lack of self-confidence and learning helplessness from horrendous preschool experiences, it would be very easy for him to stick with easier topics. We don't want to encourage that. Enter Master Books. My hope is that with the more open and go format and shorter lessons, especially at the K through 1st level, it could give gentle exposure to a wider range of topics, not take all day, and leave plenty of time for unschooling and the rest. My concern is that his attitudes towards learning has gotten much worse since the switch. Even during more unschooling parts of our day, he is irritable, refusing to talk about educational topics he used to like to talk about. I don't know how much is going to be getting used to the switch, as change is hard for him due to the autism, or if it's just not a good fit.
Okay, so there's a lot of unknowns, and so I'm speaking very generically. But if you went out with Kristen and I for coffee and you just explained that situation for us, what I would say, and I say this very lovingly, but I would say kind of back off. That age is. A lot is going on. There's a teaching tips on the developmental side, a couple of teaching tips just recent that talk about this, the brain development. And if your student is also struggling with some other issues, usually what you're going to see with frustration and anger and stuff like that is that's them naturally saying back off. Like, you need to go slower. Like, everything's coming. I'm not ready for this. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't worry about structure. I wouldn't worry about too much academically. I would work at developmental. I would work at play and imagination. I would, if you're doing unschooling, make it very loose. 6, I've talked about this in the past. In Finland, they don't even start school until age 7 because so much is happening developmentally. I know Carrie Bailey has taught in the school systems, worked with special needs. I think she would agree with me. The developmental approach is a very holistic approach, which says there's more to the brain than just academics. Fine motor skills, gross motor skills, creative play, imagination, stamina, social skills, all of these besides the intellectual skills. And sometimes we get so intense about the intellectual skills at a very young age, and it actually can cause more problems at an older age. So that would be my recommendation, would be just relax. And if you're not saying you do, because I said there's a lot of variables I don't know, so don't accept this like I'm speaking directly to you. It's just broad brush. But if you carry that intensity, then that even creates more frustration for a student. And if you can relax, the student will relax. I mean, you got 12 years to work this thing out. You got 14 years if you need to. I mean, the goal really, we just got to take it easy. And I think sometimes we're so used to rigorous programs that start young, and a lot of that can be very pride and ego driven by schools. I addressed that in another, in a teaching tips, because I was a principal and I understand that world. So I feel, Kasha just weighed in. And I think Kasha, maybe she could even comment, because she just recently said she kind of wished that she had taken things a little more developmentally. If I'm right, it might have been somebody else, but just understanding that whole brain approach type thing. So that's a very big question. There's a lot to be considered. I don't know without a full interview of what we're talking about in that. So that's just kind of a generic answer to a very general, or to a very big question.
Right. Stephanie Malone jumped in over in the app. She said, our daughter is 16, has autism and anxiety. She's doing very well with Master Books. Take it slow and don't push too hard. Hugs to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through and read through some of the live questions that we had over in the app. Could you take Jensen's grammar and split it up over 7th and 8th grade through high school to do alongside writing strands to help cover more grammar?
You could. I think it's mostly, we felt that it was more appropriate as a high school grammar course. So I don't know that I would push it for 7th and 8th grade. Let them do the writing, and if they needed additional help, it's easy enough to get it. But learning how to be good communicators is just so important.
Is there a recommended literature reading list for my 2nd grader? We do language lessons level 2, and she is a reluctant reader. I would love to cultivate a love for reading, but I don't know what to get for her.
I think if mom's still watching, there is a reading list or a suggested reading list in the back of language lessons 2 and maybe 3 and 4. I don't know all of it.
We didn't lose mom.
Mom is so embarrassed.
She's like, I don't want to see anymore.
When I started pastoring, it was early on, and I said, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't embarrass you. And she said, you couldn't possibly embarrass me more than you already have in life. So that was.
She's going to say something about that. She said, yes, there is a reading list in the back.
Okay.
Of that one. There are also dots, which means she's waiting on something else.
Reluctant reader. Here's what I would say. I would say with reluctant reader, find a book that they're interested in. Let them read a little bit of it. Let them discover the topics that they're interested in. When you find something they're interested in, they want to learn more. So don't make it about, this is the reading list so and so suggests. They're available, but make it about what topics are they interested in. Get it. Are we okay?
She said, are we okay? She said, oh my word, drama on this.
We tend to be more drama oriented, maybe.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Shannon said, what are your thoughts on using my story with a 5th grader? I will also have a 4th, 2nd, 1st, and K. I would like to combine them as much as possible. I think I would add some extra reading from the elementary geography course for my 4th and 5th graders.
I think that would be a great tool for that. We have families that are using my story for 4th and 5th grade, even 6th grade, and really enjoying it. So I think you would be fine for that, especially if you supplement it a little bit with some outside reading and stuff like that.
And Mom also said on the previous question, you could co-read to start. So don't make her read everything, but just kind of bounce back and forth.
Oh, read together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember, we get what we lead. And so with our kids, we want to show enthusiasm and all of that as well.
My first grader still struggles with reading in the Abeka program. We will be switching to Master Books in summer. She placed in 2nd grade. Any suggestions for additions to help her with reading? I think the last question we kind of answered.
Yep.
Kara said, I'm 41 and my mom still brings toilet paper to our house when she visits. It has been a running joke for months. Mom would do that for us.
Oh, she would.
Mom loves us.
Mom would. Yeah. It's funny. We're soft. I'm soft in other things. And toilet paper's not one of them.
Toilet paper's not one of them.
That's funny.
Oh.
All right. We've gone on.
We've rambled and been dramatic for long enough.
Hey, well, we are praying specifically for your families right now. And we just pray the Lord's blessing on your families. We pray his covering, that he would be a shelter and a refuge to your families, and that he would also encourage you and give you inspiration that the job that you're doing is so important to the kingdom. And, you know, this is what we've prepared our kids for. We've prepared our kids for real life. And, you know, so, all right, guys. Hey, God bless you. We will be doing more Q&As. So if you have other questions, be sure to save them for us, because like I say, we're going to kind of try to have some more airtime, seeing how we're not going to be able to do as much conventions this year. So, all right, God bless. Have a good, happy Tuesday Eve.
And happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. All right.